Hello, here I am, back again. I forgot the music. This was the music that um, sounds something like that. Okay, yay, hello. Um, yeah, today, let me see closer to my mic. And today I'm gonna finish Rosemary's photograph story. No story, event. Yes, event. I'm pretty close to finish, I guess. I don't know. I think I can finish today. And after I finish, I want to try Q-Manifold. Yes, as I did the other day. It's fire bonus this round. Ooh, it's this guy. Okay. And here I think I'm pretty much safe. And yeah, I'm gonna do that. And see how it goes. Okay? Okie dokie. Let's go. Right into the business. Alright. Last time, in the mansion, what happened? Okay. They were trying to figure out more details about the murderings. And while Raven was searching for Sora inside the house, and Fuhua, Bronya, and Tesla were fixing the defense systems of the thing that they use to defend themselves from Honkai beasts. Yes. So yeah. I'm this little image here is not very how can I say, doesn't give me good vibes, but let's dive into it. This lady here, let us go. Okay. Breathing turns out to be quite an effort. People tend to ignore common things. But then there's a gash in the throat. Breathing, which is the most common action, becomes a luxury. So if I'm not mistaken, there's a person, they call it Grey Serpent. It's the guy from the story. Was about to kill Sora? Something like that. I have a terrible memory. She pressed her fingers against the gash, trying to stop the bleeding, which proved futile. Her hand feebly dropped down. Agony of suffocating even exceeded the pain of the wound. She struggled to turn her head to look at the body on the ground near her in the heavy rain. He was the reason why she ended up like this. Violence had been with her since childhood. Accomplished missions used to be the only thing of her life. At least that child can go on a different life path. This thought used to be her strength of will, but now, light footsteps softly approached. Someone was riding something beside her, with the blood that was gushing from her wound. Why? She asked soundlessly. She could no longer make any noise. Why? The rider did not stop, but responded with a peculiar smile. Her pale lips slowly closed. Warm teardrops fell down her cold cheeks. This is... Raven cries came from afar. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Was worse than I was expecting. And imagine this week was her birthday. Yay. And Dr. Tesla. Expert Snoop. Ah, what an ingenious nickname. What happened, Tesla? You said Brunia. What happened to her? Oh, yeah. They were trying to communicate something happened, and they rushed to her Tesla, or calm down, she's fine. At least for now. For now? Dr. Tesla, please be straightforward in this kind of emergency. Then let Bronya speak to you herself. Heinz, connect Bronya. Doctor, Miss Adler. No word. Miss Fuha now encountered no enemies and fell into their ambush. Miss Fuha is resisting the enemies, though they cannot severely hurt us for now. We are indeed outnumbered. Ambush? Has the intelligence of a Honkai beast evolved to this level? I'm afraid it's not Honkai beast. Miss Bronya was talking. There were faint sounds of gunshots and explosions. Honkai beasts do not use firearms. You never know. You never know, dude. You never know. What is happening? Is it the missing Valkyrie squad? Yes, it's the Valkyrie squad that lost contact in the mission of hunting the Phantom. Though we don't know why, their hostility towards you two alone justifies our counterattack. But if it's possible, please don't take their lives. Dr. Tesla, they are well equipped. We are in no place to pull our punches. Don't worry. Leave to me. Leave that to me. What, the punches? Or the killing? I happen to know a few tricks that can manipulate people's minds. Ooh, I can paralyze them without hurting them. Then guess I'll have to trouble you to join the fight, Miss Adler. I have a plan. Time's against us. Tell me about it on the way. Let's go. Oh, they're actually very close. Closer than I was expecting. Oh, hello. I'm in position, Miss Sidekick. Copy. I'll leave the timing to you, Miss Adler. Signal me and I'll suppress the enemies. This way, the enemies will eat their own medicine. Okay, what is happening? Oh, flashing. Ooh. Flash bombs. Ooh. Where are the mind tricks? I'm waiting for the mind tricks. These are no mind tricks. Threat neutralized, but the heat signature, what? Look over there, many dead Valkyries. There's someone over there, seems to be... Oh, who is that? Sora. What?
Yes, Master.
Doctor, look. These are dead Valkyries? I think I almost saw the weapon that killed them. It's Raven. I fought her once. It cannot be mistaken. Seems like she clashed with the Valkyries squad here, and she didn't treat them too kindly. Wait, I think I saw someone. That's... Sora? Eee. She looks weird. Let's go and check it out. Be careful, Grace Upper could be lurking somewhere. But after we got to the corner, the horrible view before our eyes was beyond words. Oh. Such a terrible image. This is... Dude, this is a event. It's not a main story thing. But this is quite shocking. Even for a Honkai. You know, I don't know. Yeah. In deep shock, Sarah was curled up near the wall and trembling all over. In the direction she faced, we found Raven's cold body. The woman I talked to 2 moments ago was now sitting against the wall, bathed in blood. All life was gone from her eyes. Raven is that too. There's something written in the wall. On the wall Raven leaned against, we saw the scarlet word, rage, written in flesh blood. Not again. Revenge. It wasn't until then I noticed something else. Lying at her feet, another body. Everyone else soon caught up to it. That's Great Serpent. What? None of us could believe our own eyes. Great Serpent was killed too. Raven and him did this to each other? I bent down to check Raven's body and found a fatal knife wound on her neck, cutting her artery wide open. I then checked Great Serpent and found a similar neck wound, but somehow there was another puncture wound in his back. Why? I fell into a long silence, one that was shared by everyone else. I looked to the only eyewitness. Joaquin and Bronia had helped her up. She was in a trance, and her face was devoid of any emotion. Sora? Can you hear me? Sora made no response, as if she was a soulless puppet. Raindrops hitting her eyes, but she didn't even blink. Oh, that's sad. Imagine if that happened in the main story. Ugh, Jesus, dude. Okay. I slowly soaked my body in hot water and so refreshing. This is Rita, right? Irene, I think. Then I heard the sound of a long exhalation coming from the transceiver. Tired already? This is not like you, Mr. Detective. The Mr. Detective I know always conducts himself with grace, no matter what difficulties he faces. I'm sorry, Miss Reader, but but fiction and reality are actually two different things. Anyway, I start blasting. No, not this. Do really have to talk through this thing. Several hours have passed since Ravens and Grey Serpent's bodies were found. After we managed to carry the two bodies back, everyone got drenched to the skin. Sora is still in a state of stupor. Dr. Eisen put her in a room to rest. Just like my impatience. It's late at night. We are all exhausted, anxious, and uncomfortably wet. Before planning the next move, what everyone needs is a hot bath. But before that, I have something to do. I found Dr. Doyle, who is lost in the thought, alone in the hall. Also, is Rita narrating. Okay. Do you have a minute, Doctor? What can I do for you, Miss Adler? I'd like to talk to you in private. But not in here. I dangle a small, delicate device before his eyes. Dr. Tesla's transceiver. I see. As private as possible. Well, then, talk to you later. I felt a meaningful smile and turned. I left a meaningful smile and turned on my room. The bathtub is filled with hot water. I tried the temperature. I slipped out of my bathrobe. Okay. I slowly sank into the bathtub. After transitory enjoyment of this small warm paradise, yeah, I bet it's a paradise. I turned on my transceiver. I cautiously splashed water in the bathtub. The gentleman on the other end of the line didn't make me wait long. Are you taking a bath, Miss Adler? Her voice getting suddenly louder, not louder. Well, okay. Answered his question with a steamy chuckle. And we started to talk in this unusual atmosphere. Alright. What do you want to talk, Miss Adler? I'd like to hear your opinion on this case. You must have discovered some clues. Talking about thoughts with others makes it easier to sort them out, isn't it? There was a short silence. He must be debating whether or not to lay the cards he holds on the table. I thought too, with a smirk. I'm not asking to hear your opinion for free, Dr. Detective. My conjectures may help you too. This is a fair exchange. Alrighty then. Regarding this murder, my biggest question is the murderer really among us? What? Among us? No. Please, stop it. The reason why I have this question is because of Grey Serpent, isn't it? Oh, what is this? Okay. Yes. According to Raven, Grey Serpent knew he was found out by Mr. Joyce that he had been involved in the human experiments conducted in St. Fountain before the cataclysm. So he killed him to seal his lips. Jackal and Raven were also part of this, so Grey Serpent got rid of them too to spare himself any future troubles. The logic behind this assumption seems flawless in terms of why done it. But if you put more careful thoughts into it, you will find a paradox. The word written with blood. Okay. Yes, correct. Rage, revenge. Luckily, this guy is not. It's on the phone, isn't it? Okay. This word appeared at both of the crime scenes. If it wasn't a message left by the victims, then it must be written by the murderer out of some kind of rituality. The situations of the crime scenes obviously agree with the latter assumption. Yes, the murderer has been declaring her motive to all of us by leaving that scarlet word. If Grey Serpent was a murderer, then rage would make no sense. Rage. I see you have completely crossed Grey Serpent off. Can't say that for sure now, but at least the two murderers defy the hypothesis of Grey Serpent being the murderer. What's more, according to the scene of Grey Serpent and Raven's deaths, neither of them could have written that word on the wall, no matter who died first. I think you're right. There was no word written on the wall. I would have assumed that they both died after a first fight. It's obvious that the murderer never intended to hide. She left the word to follow the progress of her revenge. Leave aside the motive, There's something unusual about the wound on Grey Serpent's back. I've checked it. It's a fatal heart injury. There's no way he could lurk around for days and fight a former mercenary to death. I'm surprised that he could even move. The degree of decomposition suggests that he's been dead for several days. What? A dead man had been walking around and committing murders, huh? This just became a ghost story. Trust me, Irene. I know corpses very well. Oh, Jesus. That's not a good time to say that. Okay. And that's why I started to wonder if I should still treat this case as a normal serial murder. If logic is no longer with us, I don't know how I should continue my deduction. I slightly adjusted my posture in the bathtub, and the water rippled. I certainly wouldn't believe what I just said. But I believe when you have eliminated the possible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Well, if we look at it from a different angle, revenge, who would hate those victims this much? Then we must look at the common experiences of the victims. A few hours ago, we just heard of a pest that involves Jackal, where a serpent and raven, human experiments on orphans, and the cause of the cataclysm. They were all guilty of this, directly or indirectly. Let's assume for a moment that there's someone who lost everything in the cataclysm, but somehow survived. Oh, then this person who knows everything about it would a victim of and a witness to that tragedy at the same time. Bronya, that child has a motive to seek revenge of them. Wait a second. I remember Jackal and Raven were invited by Mr. Joaquin to have Bronya get her bequeathment. But what if the legacy is just a bait from the very beginning? So Jackal coveted Mr. Joyce's research data, while Raven was trying to find cures for Sora. And what Grey Serpent wanted was Jackal's and Raven's lives. I see. It was a remarkably efficient bait. I paused for a moment and gave a sudden chuckle. Oh, I would like to hear that. Sounds logical, but you missed one thing, Mr. Detective. Joaquin and Bronya both had perfect alibis. They were with us when the murders happened. Yes, how done it? This is what has been baffling me. My intuition tells me there is a paranormal involvement in this case, which all my learning has been forcing my brain to ignore. I guess the legendary Holmes is just a fictional character, after all. I see my deduction didn't score highly. Irene. I stood up from the water without making any remarks. The bubbles in my bathtub are running out. I have to go. But cheer up, Doctor. I think you are getting closer to the truth. Are we? Okay, so we have fragment 4. These are the biggest ones, to be honest. One morning, Geoffrey woke up and found himself turned into a giant beetle. Excuse me, what? In the mirror, he saw his cyan body, hard elytra, and 6 legs. Geoffrey, get dressed and come down for breakfast. He heard someone calling him. It was not Bronya or Sally. It was one of the doctors. Geoffrey remembered he didn't go back to the orphanage last night, but was taken to the observation board. He awkwardly dragged his 6 legs to run downstairs, but lost balance and rolled down the stairs. Geoffrey walked into the cafeteria. There were many doctors walking around, but no one cast a look at him. Breakfast was fried sausages and orange juice. The sausages were crispy with cheese inside. Ooh, but tasted like medicine to Geoffrey. It is because I'm a Bedouin now. Geoffrey looked at the sausages in his plate in confusion. He missed the beef patties, seasoned with rosemary that Brenda used to make. She grew the rosemary herself. Brenna's beef patties never taste like medicine. Geoffrey thought so, smacking his lips. The doctors were still walking around. Geoffrey raised his hand. Excuse me, but I think I turned into a beetle. What? The most normal thing to do. Excuse me, but I think I turned into a beetle. What? Well, okay. Oh, Jesus. One of the doctors came to him. It was the lady with long black hair. Beetles don't eat sausages, said. What the fuck is this? After breakfast, Sensei came to pick Geoffrey up in the car. Geoffrey asked him, "Do you think I look like a beetle?" What is this? Do you think I look like a beetle, Sensei? What are you talking about, silly? Sensei responded without even looking back. Geoffrey looked at himself in the car window. Was it still a beetle? I couldn't they see? It looks like a kid's story. Like something like you would read to a kid at bedtime. Can I be a doctor as a beetle? What? Geoffrey hesitated for a moment and asked again. Sensei cast a glance at him in the rear view mirror and said, "Did you have a nightmare? I'll adjust your dosage. We can talk about the beetle thing when we get back." Geoffrey snuck in through the back door and went upstairs with his 6 legs, which was easier than going downstairs, and knocked on the doors of Zillie's room with one of his 6 legs. "Zillie, it's me, Geoffrey, the beetle." The door opened a crack. Zillie craned out and burst into tears the instant she saw him. "What have they done to you?" "Zillie can't see my chains." Geoffrey was happy and upset at the same time. "What should I do? I'm a beetle now, but no one seems to have noticed. Have I always been a beetle that no one cares about? What? I care about you, Joey the beetle. So does Brian. We both care about you very much. You're important to us," said Zillie. "Then can I still be a human?" "No, silly. You are a beetle." "I'll figure out how to turn you back, Joey. Trust me." Seeing Zillie's tears streaming down her face, Geoffrey felt sad. A sad beetle. Zillie, oh god. Zillie stood on tiptoe and stroked his giant head. What? Off. Off. What is this? I'll figure it out. There must be a way to turn you back. It's gigantic, just his ginormous head. Geoffrey became taller than Zillie after he turned into a beetle. He had always wished to grow taller, so that he'd be able to protect his 2 big sisters. So maybe turning into a beetle wasn't so bad. Though he still preferred to be a human boy. Go get some sleep. Maybe you'll feel better later. What? Maybe you feel better later. Maybe you feel less a beetle later. Geoffrey nodded obediently and went back to his own room. When Geoffrey woke up again, he found that he was no longer a beetle. He cheerfully got off the bed, put his little shirt, as Scylla mended for him, and his favorite gray pants. That's right, I'm Geoffrey, a human boy. I'm not a beetle. He opened the door and saw the doctor with long black hair and Sensei. They looked stunned when they saw him. Geoffrey didn't understand why they were so shocked. He started to run faster and faster. He didn't know why he could run so fast, as if he still had his 6 legs. He just wanted to see Zilly and tell her, Geoffrey is no longer a beetle. I'm very much confused. Just happened? What just happened? Do you think you were a beetle? No, no beetle. Do you think you are now ready to tell me, Dr. Eiston? What is this Omega 2 that Mr. Joyce had been tracing these years? Beetle. I leaned forward while the blue-haired lady on the other side of the table is impassively staring at me in the eye. Hello. Moments later, she let out a deep sigh, as if she just decided to give up something important. You won, Doctor. What I'm about to tell you is the biggest secret of Lab 42 of Jigsaw Imperial Institute. I trust you, but please don't put me in certain circumstances that require me to take drastic measures. Ooh, I'm confident about my ability to keep secrets. You don't have to worry about that. To be honest, I'm surprised and flattered that you agreed to reveal this secret to me without much hesitation. So many people have died. I had no other choice. And I'd like to know what secrets are hidden behind this incident too. In that case, I'm all ears. What happened here? Okay. Do you know that Veld used to be an assistant in Lab 42? Of course, everyone knows. But what do you know about his past before he joined Lab 42? Nothing? Now that you mention it, I just realized that there is no intel about Veld Joyce's past. It's because of the Institute's strict intel control measures. Veld used to be the Institute's top secret sample before he was transferred to Lab 42. Sample? Yes, sample for the experiment. Code name Omega 1. Oh, naruhodo. Omega 1. You don't need to know his real identity. I can't reveal it anyway, but I can tell you that the Omega 2 Veld had been tracing were the only 2 copies of Omega 1 that the Institute had successfully made back when Veld served as the sample. Only 2 copies. Wait a second. Does that mean Geoffrey? You're the incisive, Doctor. Yes, the boy whom you just met is one of the 2 copies. Who would have thought this what direct descendant really means? But unfortunately, those 2 boys did not get Veld's powers. But don't mind that. In short, as they failed to meet expectations, the Institute decided to dispose of Omega 2. Upon learning of this, Veld intervened with the influence of Lab 42 and managed to protect one of them at last. but the other one went missing ever since. I see. So Mr. Joyce acquired it, then tell that this missing Omega-2 was licença falta. Fortunately, when he acquired the intel, the cataclysm already struck. Just a second. Okay, it's my game. Take care. So he led Lab 42 to San Francisco, not just to fight against the disaster, but also to investigate the whereabouts of Omega-2. Correct. Our informant in the Institute told us the cause of the cataclysm had something to do with a certain experiment, but we couldn't find any records of the participants and details of the experiment. So that's why the Institute hired outsiders to conduct the experiment. What did you say? Knock knock? Wait, what? Okay, correct. Our informant in the Institute told us cause of was okay, but we couldn't find any records of the participants and details of the experiment. So that's why the Institute hired outsiders to conduct the experiment. What did you say? I did miss it. There was a timely knock on the door. It's open. I ended this conversation before Dr. Eisen could ask any more questions. Oops, I'm interrupting you two? What's wrong, Lorraine? I just came to inform you that Sora just woke up. Ooh. Oh, Zilly! What? When I saw Sora, Geoffrey was sitting by her bed. To my surprise, it was his stepsister, Bronya, who was with him rather than Dr. Tesla. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Bronya. Where's Dr. Tesla? He's still studying the data about the Phantom, but Joy wants to check in on Sora. Bronya, there's something I'd like to talk about with the doctor. Can you take Geoffrey somewhere else for a minute? Sure. Come on, Geoffrey. Joey. So, Geoffrey took Bronya's hand and they went out together. Seeing this made me begin to doubt my assumption. What assumption? From what I saw, they were as close as siblings with blood ties. Can't imagine if she came to fight for the inheritance. Walking told me Bronya cared deeply about a little girl in the orphanage, but she didn't make it in the disaster. Joey's true identity cannot be known, and he's been really weak that walking was impossible for him until recently. It's the first time Bronya has seen him in 5 years. Maybe she was reminded of some fond memories. Sora, how do you feel? Sir, I'm much better now. Sora's eyes were blue, her voice weak, and her face washed by tears. Apparently, she had learned Raven's death. Would you mind if I ask you a few questions? She nodded softly and pulled a chair close to her. Not me, him. I put a chair close to her bed to sit down. Could you tell me what happened last night from the blackout until now? Alright, but I can remember some of it, and I had this weird dream. It's okay, just tell me what you still remember. Last night, after the blackout, someone grabbed me from behind. I screamed and tried to break free, but then something hit me in the head and I passed out. And then? I don't know how long had passed, but I was somewhere else when I woke up, a small alley, I think. My hands and feet were all tied up. I tried to scream for help, but my mouth was stuffed with rag. I struggled to get up and look around, and then I saw him. He was in a black cloak, and his face was behind a mask. He just stood there in the rain, and he didn't say anything. I wanted to ask him who he was, why he took me, but my head was swimming, and I couldn't see clearly, and Sutter was swimming and wrestling with her memory. I waited quietly for her to continue. And then he took a knife and began to wipe it. One swipe, 2, 3. My mind wanted to escape, but my head was so dizzy, and all I could think was sleep. Dizzy? Were you something to her? No, I ran a brief test of her last night, and all the residuals of anesthetic chemicals was found. After a while, this man finished, whipping the knife and turned it to me. I was scared to death, but I couldn't even scream loud. He walked up to me and lifted his knife. I held my breath for what came next. And just then, Sensei, she showed up. Oh, so she made it just in time. Sora nodded and then looked away, keeping her cheerful face from us. Sensei, she saved what? She saved me. She fought the masked man hard. I never saw her so angry. Then what? What did you see after? The masked man was losing, and Sensei knocked him down. Sora's recall had matched my assumption so far, but it was her next words that really mattered. Who killed your Sensei and wrote the word in blood? I didn't see. I fell asleep. Asleep? After Sensei beat down the bad guy, she walked to me. Once I knew we were safe, I couldn't hold back the sleepiness any longer. My eyelids became heavier and heavier. When did you wake up? Just right now, in this room. Bruna was taking care of me. She told me, Sensei, I can't remember anything before. Nothing at all? No, but I had weird dreaming when I was asleep. Dream? What kind of dream? In the dream, I became someone else, a girl dressed in blue. This is uncanny. Right when we found Jackal's body, I seemed to have seen my girl in blue too. I don't remember that. Was that so? The girl seemed very sad, and I started to feel sad too. The girl, did she do anything to you? No, in the dream I was her. I saw a man holding my hand in the pouring rain, but I couldn't see his face clearly. He kept saying something, but I couldn't understand. It's a bad dream, right, Doctor? The moment I wanted to comfort her, I was struck by a violent dizziness. This was not the first time. When I opened my eyes again, Sora, Irene, and Dr. Einstein were all gone. Are you me, girl? Okay. All I could see was an azure shadow. Fine, me. Stop it. The girl in blue whispered so, and then I became her. Oh, alright. Okay. Jackal, what did you do to Joffrey? Easy now, Joaquin. Joffrey's modification and debugging are almost done. Testing is in order now. But he's just a kid. Your research is cool. He's just a test subject. A means to achieve the end. Jackal and Joaquin. Jackal looks pretty much the same, but Joaquin seems a lot younger. They seem to be fighting over Joffrey. Joffrey? Why would this name come up here? Okay. of this animation. And the butterflies. Nice. Okay, sorry. You leaving? Of course. I've done my part and got paid. No reason for me to linger. Stay and witness history. But history? What does that have to do with me? Hey, Studio Raven, I know. Hey, I can have to imagine Anya's face. Oh, what is this? Yet. Wah. 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 Joey, are you alright? They say I'm sick. And it's bad. Is it true, Mr. Hawking? You're not sick. Trust me. Everything will be fine. Sick? What happened to him? He was Morby. Oh, it's Bronia. Oh, she's moving. Oops. Hello. Oh, it's kind of weird. Slowly turning. Hello. Shh. I think Joey's not getting treatment. We can't trust anyone from the church, not even Mr. Hawking. Don't worry, I'll keep you both safe. Oh, it's the other silly. Look, she's Nido. Look at that. I was there once again. Only this time, it became much more realistic. I opened my palms and found two small, soft hands, which clearly belonged to the unnamed girl. I had no doubt what I just saw was something about the tests that took place 5 years ago. But why? Why would this strange memory come to me? Whose memory is this? If it's the girl who is sharing it with me, then what purpose is it for? With a million questions, I slowly walked to this rose's shadow in the darkness. The rose is red, the violet is blue. Mary is sweet, and so are you. The rose is red, and Mary is blue. We were deceived, and so are you. She never turned around to face me, only singing this familiar nursery rhyme again and again in a weeping voice. I picked up my pace, trying to catch up, but the harder I tried, the further she got away, and all of a sudden, I was cast out from this dream world. If. Okay. This is the alternative outfit from Zille, right? I think those outfits should come back, you know? This is the which one from the one that is used in the new chapter for May. That one should be back. Somehow. What is it? Doctor is right. The incision on the body could only have been made by someone much shorter. What? We can't let her know this. It's too cruel for a child. We are in an empty utility room in the underground lab of the mansion, which is now a bit crowded due to the 3 corpses lying side by side. Have you checked Miss Joyce's body in the treatment room next door? Mister? Yes, I have. It's indeed him. And I've checked all vital signs. He's dead for real. Hmm, I'm curious. Did you already suspect Sora before you visit her today? Just a simple guess based on the position of the scarlet word on the wall. It was almost level with Raven's head, with eyes sitting on the ground, leaning against the wall. An adult of normal height would need to bend over or squat down to write the word, which would not be a comfortable posture for writing. That's not a good guess, but okay. But the word was obviously written smoothly, which means the writer of the word was likely to be the same height as the child, and there happened to be a child on the scene. It's common sense, not law, so it cannot be used as evidence in legal procedure. Yeah, really, as ever, doctor. Though the process of your reasoning follow the facts, in common sense, the deduction you've reached sounds improbable. I agree with Miss Adler. Your deduction this time is just implausible. Do you really think the perpetrator of the serial killings is a phantom? I'm not sure who. Those who doubt always try to fit their own guesses into facts, but I deduce from facts and see if my deduction fits. Deductions fit. This is what I have deduced from the facts known to us. As I talk, I bend over and sniffed Grey Serpent's. Why would you do that? Grey Serpent's body. So I was right after all. I think we can skip the reasoning and directly identify the murderer. But I need you to help me with something first. The air is filled with a delicate floral scent. Yes, this is the source of the scent. I'm standing in the yard in front of the mansion, sniffing at the fragrance of rosemary. Aman's carefully pruning next to me. I didn't know you were interested in flowers too, Doctor. Oh, I have learned some basic botany for professional reasons. Rosemary seems lignify quickly. Too much pruning may harm the growth of new foliage, so it's best not to trim off more than half of a stem's overall length at one time. And what are you doing in textbook pruning, Mr. Joaquin? These plants must be well tended in the past 5 years. I see we're very proud of your endless erudition. I heard the complacency in your tone. Joaquin responded without even looking up. I raised an eyebrow. You seem to have a distaste for me, Mr. Joaquin. I just hope you can do your job properly, Doctor. I don't want to see Bronya worried and scared. It's your duty to find the murderer and put an end to these horrors. Are you sure you can afford wasting time here? In my defense, I'm doing my job here right now. What? I abruptly approached Joaquin, clenched his wrist, and whispered to him, You know who the murderer is from the very beginning, don't you? I don't know what you're talking about. But now I know Dr. Einstein shouldn't have trusted you in this case. His breathing was steady. His pulse did not quicken, so I decided to drop another bomb. She's here, isn't she? The second bomb has obviously caused damage. Joaquin's body quivered. His hand seems to have been frozen on the rosemary stems. I can tell that he's trying hard to calm himself down. I don't understand a thing you said, Doctor, but you make me uncomfortable. It's alright. All the puzzles will clear it up soon. I let go of his wrist and took a look at my watch. It's about time. Come with me, please. Let's settle this matter once and for all. For all. Justice for all. Just like the music. When I stepped into the hall, everyone was present except Hua and the bedridden Sora. The doctor, I've gathered everyone here as requested. Thank you, Dr. Einstein. I scanned around, passing through everyone's face before I cleared my throat. Hey! Is it true you found the murder? Expert Snoop. Ahem. Well, Dr. Tesla, how about you call me something else? Whatever. Stop holding up and just tell us who it is. Sure. The conclusion is, Grey Serpent killed Mr. Joyce, but he was not responsible for the other 3 murders. And I presume it is someone among us. Then, Doctor. Yes, but we'll get to that part later. First, let's look at how Mr. Wild Joyce was murdered. After all, this is the very reason I'm here now, Dr. Einstein. May I? As Dr. Einstein nodded in consent, I went over what I was going to say in my head. It all started 5 years ago, if not any earlier. Mr. Joyce had 2 lineal descendants. One is Joey, and the other one went missing years ago. Let's just call the other one Omega 2. 5 years ago, the catastrophic event hit Sun Fountain, and Lab 42 came for leave. This was just an appearance. Mr. Joyce what truly wished to find out was the tests that caused the disaster in Omega 2. Every sign leads to the fact that high-ups of the church had a hand in the tests, but no record was left. Naturally, according to Raven, no one from the church was directly involved. The tests were led by Jackal. Grey Serpent was the material supplier. Raven handled delivery of this material. Oh, what a team they make. Wait, what do you mean by materials? I think you know Jackal better than me. It wasn't the first time for her to meddle with human subjects. That's ridiculous. If she took in a lot of human subjects, how could she get away with unwanted attention? I believe you noticed, Dr. Tesla. Back then, in Sun Fountain, there was a place to take in orphans legitimately. Joaquin, is it true? You were managing the church just for this atrocious business. Tesla's anger silenced the whole hall. Everyone held their breath and looked to the same person. Joaquin pursed his lips and slowly closed his eyes. Dr. Tesla, it must be a mistake. Mr. Joaquin, I know it is indeed a mistake. I asked Raven about Mr. Joaquin's role in the tests. She told me he was kept in the dark all along, right until the city was turned into ruins. But can we take her words for it? I believe her, yes. Raven confessed after she saw Mr. Joyce's notes, which pointed out Mr. Joyce was onto Grey Serpent. The test on human subjects led to Sun Fountain's fall. Once revealed, the truth will crucify everyone involved. So, Grey Serpent acted first and killed Veld. This explains Grey Serpent's motive. After Jackal's death and Sora's kidnap, Raven became sure Grey Serpent meant to silence everyone involved. She made a confession knowing she'd probably die in Grey Serpent's hands. I don't think she had any reason to lie. I was there too. I believe she was telling the truth. No, wait. I'm not sure I'm following. The test that caused the catastrophe in Grace Sumpert's motive. I got this part. But Joaquin, you knew what Velt was after all these years. Why did you keep your mouth shut? What the hell is your plan? Dr. Tesla, I believe Mr. Joaquin will give us a convincing explanation himself. But before that, let's return to the case itself. The killer of Jackal, Grey Serpent, and Raven is still among us. What? But to follow what you just told, Grey Serpent killed Velt, Jackal, and kidnapped Sora. Raven then killed him to save Sora at cost for her life. That explains everything, right? It's a fine story, but I believe you left out something important. Rage, the blood riding. Yes, what I'm about to say might sound far-fetched, so I'd like to begin with the 2 murders after Mr. Joyce. In normal circumstances, Dr. Tesla's explanation makes perfect sense. If not for the blood ridings. Rage means revenge in German. If it was Grey Serpent, he apparently didn't kill for revenge. On the other hand, if the writing was merely a distraction, then why didn't we see it near Mr. Joyce's body? Doo-doo. To Tesla and Einstein said when they found Mr. Joyce, Grey Serpent was also there, with a knife on his back. But when they got Mr. Joyce to the emergency room and returned, Grey Serpent was gone. Isaac examined Grey Serpent's body firsthand, trying to get an answer. The back wound went to the heart, a fatal blow. And the wound had rotten so much that it's safe to say he died exactly around the time Mr. Joyce's death. What? Which means a corpse rose from the dead and killed Jackal and Raven before it was finally put to rest. That indeed defies everything logical. To begin with, it's hard to imagine all 3 directly involved, and the tests should show up in Sun Fountain together. Oh, okay. That's hardly a coincidence. The killings were for revenge. The 3 victims shared one thing in common: the Forsaken tests 5 years ago. So, of all the people here today, who has the best reason to see these 3 dead? The hall fell silent after my question. It was more than obvious. Doctor, that's very sound reasoning, but I must say the conclusion is based on the unfounded presumption of guilty. Yes, Bernie and I were victims of the horrendous event 5 years ago, but that doesn't mean we're guilty. And I'd like to remind you both of us were by your side when the 2 murders took place. You're right. Motive doesn't make you murder, but there are too many things about you that make no sense. You knew exactly what happened 5 years ago, but you never said anything to Mr. Joyce after joining Lab 42. You knew Jackal was responsible for the tragedy, but you still made her brilliance governess nonetheless. You knew more tragedies would follow if they got their hands on Mr. Joyce's legacy, but you still invited them here. Unless, of course, none of them would walk out of the manor alive in your plan. Utter gibberish. Say whatever you want. Everyone here, including yourself, is our alibi. As long as this stands, everything you said is just wild fantasy. Ah, I knew we would eventually come to this. I sighed and put the comlink prepared by Dr. Tesla close to my lips. Action speaks louder than words, and that's how I'm going to prove my theory. Ua, how's the presentation going on your side? I'm ready, Doctor. I turned to face the group with a grim look. I'm going to burn every rosemary in the yard. I found surprise on Dr. Tesla and Bernia's faces. But before they could speak, someone's breakdown became faster. Stop it! You can't do this! Care to explain me why? Dr. Einstein has given me her consent. You... Don't worry, Mr. Joaquin. Dr. Tesla told me the church was burned down 5 years ago. The Rosemary's survived. It might take Hua some time, but fortunately, we've prepared enough fuel. It's time for us to find out whether Rosemary truly stands for eternity or not. Just bloody stop it! The hysterical scream came from a man of maturity and refinement. He soon regained calm in everyone's choked gaze. I confess, I killed the Grey Serpent, Jackal, and Raven. What's going on? I'm lost here. I'll leave the details to the murderer himself. And before that, I'm afraid we have temporarily restrained your freedom, Mr. Hawking. Before I finished my words, Wu had come out of hiding, slowly approaching Hawking. It's a trap! It's a trap! A bitter smile floated up to Hawking's face. To everyone's surprise, someone small stepped forward in front of him. Don't touch him! Bronya. Inside chick, I know how you feel. Shut up! You know nothing about him, or us. All of this is my plan. My revenge. And this is only the beginning. What? Oh, I should be able to use Fuhua too, right? She's also a lightning character. Metal suit. Oh. Good job, Loki. Oh. Fancy. Painting. Just quit it, Miss Bronya. Your enemies are all gone. You can stop now, Bronya. No, I can't stop. I don't understand. I used to be very grateful to Grey Serpent, who brought me, a lowly child soldier, back from the battlefield. What? In the church, I met Zelly and Joey, my beloved sister and brother. For the first time in my life, I felt there was something worth cherishing. The word. Okay, let me just read. I used to be grateful to Grey Serpent who brought me, a lowly child soldier. Ah, back from the battlefield. Okay. But that woman named Jackal, she had been making modifications to all the orphans in the name of treatment. I knew something wasn't right, so I started my own investigation. I thought I had been doing it secretly, but they were still alerted. Raven and Grey Serpent somehow knew my plan to confront Sensei, so they pushed me down the stairs. When I woke up again, I had already been sent to one of the Institute's hospitals outside from Sun Fountain. I tried so many times to leave. I wanted to return to Sun Fountain to take Zelly and Joey away, but at that time, I hadn't recovered from my leg injury, so all my escapes failed. And one day, I read the newspaper that the cataclysm occurred and Sun Fountain had become a dead city. Bronya. Over the years, I've done many investigations with all the sources I could possibly access. I even used my bequeathment to lure my enemies. Project Pseudo Richa. This was the name of the experiment. What? It was to create powerful Pseudo Riches by modifying the copies of the first Richer. Without choice. Again? How did you know about all this, Bronya? They did those human experiments on the orphans purely out of their sick craving for powers. In the end, the project failed. Sun Fountain was ruined, and my little brother became a nameless monster who killed our sister. What? The Fountain of Sun... The Fountain of Sun Fountain is Omega 2? They all deserve to die. So I used Grey Serpent to kill Jackal so that I didn't have to get her evil blood in my hands. Oh, that's why she's sad. I wanted to see my brother for the first time. Oh, because her brother was the other one that got killed, and not this one. Grey Serpent was the next. His first death was an accident, but I didn't want to let him off easy. I was right. Raven must mention she was also an orphan taken by the Grey Serpent. It was him who trained her to be a missionary. So I controlled Grey Serpent to take Sora to have him killed again by his own pupil. Okay. As for Raven, she was ridiculously naive as a merciless missionary. After everything she said she had done, she started to adopt orphans all of a sudden. I couldn't stop laughing when I first heard about that. Trying to go straight and make amends, huh? No way. But people only deserve to die alone in the shadows. So you controlled Sora to kill her. You are indeed incisive, Doctor. The bitterness of being killed by someone she had cared and protect, she must taste it. Just like my sister did. I should have thought of this earlier. I thought the merciless Avenger who had been hiding in the dark was Joaquin, but I didn't know you had been holding such violent hatred. Anyway, this should be the end of your revenge. Your enemies are all gone. The end? No, Doctor. Do you really think my revenge is complete after I killed the three balls? Jigsaw, the Institute. I know this behemoth is behind all this. When first I realized Jigsaw was behind the project, I swore I'd one day erase its entire existence from the world. I opened my mouth, but failed to say anything. My usual calmness has been overwhelmed by Bronia's deep resentment. Her obsession with revenge is too intense to be eased by a sense of justice. So I can't stop now. Bronia gave a cruel smile. She reached out her hand and gently stroked Hawkins' cheek. You protect me, right, Joffrey? What? Yes, Bronia, my dear big sister. What? That one I didn't saw coming. Oh, didn't see it coming. Okay, what? Walking has a calm look on his face, but I've somehow seen a trace of craziness on it. Yeah, I can see that. The next moment, Daphne roar. Roar! Okay. The first roar came from nowhere. What the? A huge monster emerged out of thin air behind Bronia and Joaquin. In the next second, the monster took Bronia and Joaquin vanished. We all know the monster's name, but only Dr. Tesla came back to senses from the shock and said it out loud. It was the Fountain of Sun Fountain. Okay. That was kinda... Ooh. 0 from 100. Very fast. Goodbye. Say... What? Oh! Secret. Okay. Joffrey, Joaquin is Omega 2? I figured it out instantly. The Joffrey that Bronia just mentioned is not the timid little boy who follows around Dr. Einstein, but Omega 2. If Joaquin's Omega 2, then what's the Phantom? What's that Phantom? Doctor. Who woke me up from my contemplation? What should we do now, Doctor? We have no devices or techniques to track down that Phantom. Don't worry about it, Dr. Eisen. It's Bronia and Joaquin that we should track, not a Phantom. Before we assemble here, I borrowed a tracking device from Dr. Tesla and managed to stick it on Joaquin's coat. Ooh, clever. Oh. B. Okay. Ah, was it when you were in the yard? You knew back then that the phantom would come. Of course not. I'm not a psychic. I was just taking precautions to prevent them from running away. The real problem is we don't have any weapons or measures that could hurt the phantom. Even if we could track down Bernie and Joaquin with the phantom route, we wouldn't be able to bring them back. Oh, don't need to worry about that. Huh? I've been analyzing the data we collected from the phantom after our encounter with it. The analysis went well, and I made this device based on the results. It can interfere with quantum states. I think it will effectively hurt the phantom if we activate it in the battle. Then let's set off. Let's set off to the battle.
デートでもしましょうか。
デートもでしましょうか. Self-fountain rail station, the only thing the city has with the outside world. The twist amidst the void, two people and a monster emerge. Thank you, Mr. Joaquin. Sorry, this is all my fault. No, Geoffrey. Conan Doyle is every bit as good as his name, and we were caught off guard by his cheap shot. I wonder how he came to know about the Rosemary's secret. Maybe not on his own, but with some help from Silly. Enough! How many times must I repeat she's dead, and whatever is in the flowers is not her. But if she'd come to me long ago. What should we do now? Leave some fountain and lay low before the time is right for our next move. They've all paid with their blood. The only thing left for us to do is leave. I believe we still haven't settled business here, Miss Sidechick. Who is there? We made it. Never thought Dr. Tesla's while driving would actually do some good one day. Miss Psychic, come with us, please. No way you could locate the phantom. Why? She suddenly thought of something and began to search herself. Failing to find what she looked for, she tugged Joaquin over and finally found a red dot on the inside of his sleeve. This. Another cheap shot. Whatever works. Prepare to transfer. However, this time the phantom could not just vanish into thin air with the two, like the last time. Horror! It let out a scream of puzzlement and confusion. After all this time, you still think we are unable to develop any countermeasures? Huh. Checkmate, Miss Sidechick. Time for battle! I've spoken, I won't hold back now. What? I'm trying to read. Time to show monsters most elegant dance. Okay, with core. Without the protection of the quantum state, the phantom finally fell down under our overwhelming attacks. Its physical composition is very unstable. Unstable. It might still come back to life if we don't annihilate it now. But I know what you worried about Hua, but this phantom is not Omega 2. It's nothing but a Honkai beast. If Miss Hua doesn't have the heart to end its life, leave the dirty work to me then. Irene burst past us and raised her deadly scythe. Oh, the phantom under the scythe is like a wounded beast in a trap awaiting its doom. Sensei! A scream was heard along with the sound of metal clashing together. Bronya and her shield was knocked over by Irene's giant scythe. Sensei! I suddenly thought of a detail of intel Hua told me. It was when they first met the phantom. When Joaquin was shooting Bronya with himself, the phantom suddenly stopped its attack and disappeared. It turns out when Bronya cried out Sensei, she was actually calling this hideous monster rather than Joaquin. Stop, Irene! I shouted at the last second. To my surprise, Irene hurriedly held her scythe, as if it was what she had expected. Hey, expert Snoop, didn't you hear what I just said? Doctor, what is going on? This isn't believable. I thought the serial murder and Grey Serpents and that corpse were already in canon, but there's actually something even more unexpected. I believe this phantom is the real Joaquin, the sensei and father of the orphans before the cataclysm. What? But how? But why? But how? Okay. More? 3 more? Let's go. Oh, let me just...
デートでもしましょうか。
Okay. Coughs weakly. You saw it through after all. Bunny slowly hobbled over us, leaning on Joaquin. You're right. This phantom is Joaquin. Was our sensei 5 years ago. So the kid that were their brother took the place of this Joaquin, which is now the Phantom. Okay, what? Exactly, my thought. I have a question, Omega 2. No, Mr. Joffrey. I remember Miss Bronya once mentioned that the failed experiment turned into a mindless monster 5 years ago. Yes, though I don't remember anything about the experience, I saw the horrible memories stored in this body. Zele, my big sister, was killed by me. Then how did you get into this body? Come to think of it, it seems more like a soul swap, perhaps. I don't know, I really don't. This body gave me all of Sensei's memories, experience, and knowledge, except for the memory of the soul swap. All I could remember about it was a promise that Sensei made to Zele before she died. Promise? She promised to let me die as a human, even if it means he may have to exchange his soul with the devil. I shouldn't say this as a scientist, but this paranormal phenomenon seems to only make sense when devils are involved. Doctor will answer your question, so please answer our question in exchange. As long as I have the answer. I'd like to know, how did you find out about the secret of the rosemary? Find out? You overestimate me, Miss Bronya. If your sister hadn't left me those hints, I'd never have thought fluorescence could be used as a medium of possession. Oh, hold on. What are you talking about? In the mansion, I played some tricks to make the murderer confess, which sparked off a series of unexpected events. But I haven't explained to you about the kind of magic they've used to control Grey Serpent's dead body and make the murders happen. First devils, now magic? Am I still real work? No, you're not. They might be the same thing, I think. What does that mean? I once said that there was something paradoxical about the serial murder, the word rage written in blood. It's true that in many cases the murderers intentionally left messages at the crime scenes to display their will. But in this case, the word actually made the Grey Serpent murder all the insiders of the experiment to cover for himself. Sorry, less credible. So it occurred to me, maybe the one who wrote the word was trying to reveal the real motive of the murder. And what happened next bore out my assumption. And I was visiting Sora, I fell into a dream in which I became a strange little girl. Through her eyes, I saw what happened in a certain lab before the cataclysm happened. And in the end of the dream, I heard a girl humming a certain poem. The roses is red, the violet is blue. Mary is sweet, and so are you. The rose is red, Mary is blue. We were deceived, and so are you. It's yes, it's the same poem left for on Mr. Joyce's desk at his death scene. Oh, it is. I remember that now. I was finally sure that the girl in my dream was real, and she had been trying to send messages to us. And obviously, Mr. Joyce had also met this girl before. I mentioned about her in his notes that I found on his room. So it occurred to me, maybe this girl was trying to tell us more. In fact, when I was in the dream, Irene, Ice, and Sora all saw that I walked to the window, opened it, and started to mutter to myself. If that behavior was also a hint, and the girl must have some sort of ability to control people's bodies in dream. Crazy as it may sound, it could explain all the illogical aspects of this case, such as Dr. Eisen, I remember you told me that you heard Mr. Joyce talking to someone on the phone before he was killed. Yes, I assumed that because I only heard his voice as the conversation proceeded. What if Mr. Joyce was in a state similar to the one I was in? He could be talking to the air just like I did. It's possible. I remember Miss Bronia mentioned it in her confession that Miss Joyce's death was an accident. So I think it was because Mr. Joyce's unconsciousness that Great Serpent easily murdered him, and then the girl controlled Mr. Joyce's body to give Great Serpent an unexpected stab in the back, and controlled Great Serpent's body to leave the scene. Your imagination is impressive. You're a natural novelist. An ordinary detective would have been trapped in common sense, but you managed to break free, and even devised a method, trickery, to verify your wild hypothesis. Well, at the time, I believed making you think I was going to burn down the flowers was the easiest way to reveal the uncanny truth. But what you just explained doesn't have anything to do with the rosemary. Oh, about that. I was actually also... That was... About that. It was actually also a hint from the girl. I told you, she controlled me to open the window. So after I woke up from the dream, I looked out to the window and saw nothing but the air full of rosemary, which reminded me of the first time I fell into a dream about a girl. It was when I was examining Jackal's corpse. I smelled a pleasant floral scent coming from Jack Hawking, who was standing next to me. Then I suddenly realized that I knew that scent. I had smelled it several times. In Mr. Joyce's room, on Grace Serpent's rotting body, and on Sora, whom I visited after Raven's death. I see. That's how you knew Raven was killed by the possessed Sora. Not just that, the angle of the incision in Raven's throat also suggested the murder was much shorter than her, and the height of the scarlet word on the wall also agreed with this conjecture. On top of all this, I found a familiar face in the row of the Cataclysm victims that I borrowed from Dr. Einstein. The girl who made me see what happened in the lab 5 years ago must be someone from the orphanage, and I found her. Her name was Silly Vorley, who was Bronia Psychic's little sister and best friend in the orphanage. Thank you for elaborating, Doctor, but I don't think the girl hiding the rosemary scent is my sister Silly. If it really was her, then why did she reveal my plan to you while assisting me with my revenge? I see you still haven't understood. It's certainly because she loves her sister and little brother deeply. So she's been helping them while still hoping someone would find out and rescue them from the gory path of revenge. Maybe you're right, Doctor. Brenna opened her hand. There's a glowing mauve bloom in her palm. It's rosemary, the flower of memories. Why would you rather appear in other people's dreams than come to me? If Doctor is right, if that's how you really feel. Brenna hesitated no more. She raised the rosemary and gently kissed delicate petals. Then show me. A strong fragrance diffused like a night breeze as the rosemary in Brenna's hand dissolved into red like hoods. For a moment, I seemed to see a bright figure silently emerge behind Brenna. She embraced Brenna's slender neck. Then their figures overlapped. Oh, is this? Oh, it is. Okay. Then take my burning rage. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Oh. It's become even more violent. Let me guide you to the land of peaceful rest. Okay. I want the FP. Give me the FP. It's all over. She was exhausted. She could feel the rage and fury that used to control her faded gradually and vanished at last. The rosemary in her hand, which was supposed to bloom eternally, had withered and become hideous sear remains. So this is how he refuted me. By helping me vent my anger until we are both hurt and exhausted. So, this is what waits at the end of the path of revenge. Revenge, isn't it? Oh, such a nice image. Beautiful art. Rain kept pouring down. Okay, just a second. Okay. Bruna weakly looked up, her eyes widened in surprise. She saw a clear, vivid figure. It's her friend, her sister, and her family. For so many years, she was been treating this figure as just a figment, a phantom, and a handy tool for her revenge. Because the phantom never smiled or spoke to her, or kept her warm when the cold came, like Zilly used to. But she just realized Zilly has always been with her. She was just blinded by the intense hatred in her mind. She knows it's Zilly, because only Zilly would shed sorrowful tears for her. Zilly. Protect the smile. Zilly. Bronya. Joey? I've known this all along, because I've been looking after the rosemary in our memories. Though Zilly cannot talk to us, she was always been with us. I'm sorry, Bronya, but rather than taking revenge, I want the three of us together. Joey, Zilly. Tears ran down her cheeks for the first time since she indulged herself in overwhelming desire of vengeance. She felt her real emotions. Then she saw an unreal image. In bright white light, a gentle, cultivated man and a girl in blue are living hand in hand. The man looked back and waved at her with a comforting smile, as if he just perceived her gaze. Take care, dear Brunia. They said their farewell and faded away in the white light. When she came back to her senses, she found the sear flower remains in her hand, gone with the wind. And the monstrous phantom was also gone. Ah! Ah! She finally started to wail miserably. Case closed, Doctor. Yep. The only thing left to do is deal with the two culprits, which is not the detective's job. Dr. Einstein, I think we should let Mr. Joyce decide. Ha! I didn't expect another twist in the end. How fascinating. You're making no sense, Doctor. Agreed, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's okay, Tesla. No need to cover for me now that I'm already exposed. A small figure emerged from the corner of the street. Obviously, he saw everything that just happened. Joey? It's Geoffrey Joyce. He now looks too solemn as a child, but I can see he's trying to give a friendly smile. I thought I had been hiding well. Could you tell me when I gave myself away, Doctor? Oh, I see. So this is a clone. Oh my god. So the other one is the first clone. So this kid here was cloned when Velt was killed. So they put his soul in this kid. Oh. You have indeed hidden well, Mr. Joyce. I'm sorry, but there have been a few subtle hints. The first one was the paradoxical aura you exuded when you gave testimony at Jackal's death scene. You weren't like a timid boy at all. I knew it. I'm a fan of your detective stories, and have always wanted to say lines like that, so I got carried away. But what really makes me realize that you're still alive is something more solid than an intuitive feeling. What is it? The change in Dr. Einstein's attitude. The investigation must came to a dead end before Raven told us about the experiment, which provided a turnaround. And the reason why she told us was because we found these notes about the experiment in Grey Serpent in your room. What's wrong with that? I checked your bookshelf on my first search in your room. The notes weren't there at the time. And under that circumstance, the way Dr. Einstein infuriated Raven just felt true intention. Well, I knew I wasn't good at acting. I remember clearly that when we first arrived, Dr. Einstein was loath to talk about the Phantom and the Cataclysm. Yet she provided me those key clues that could push the investigation forward via such a poor act. Such a dramatic change in her attitude could only be a result of someone's instruction. And I can't think of anyone else in this manner that could order Dr. Einstein except for the deceased, Mr. Joyce. I see. That's really impressive. Then what's with your situation? I wouldn't believe it if you told me you turned into a little boy for fun. That's messed up. Okay. Haha. That's certainly not the case, but I really don't know why it happened. You've already the details of the murder. In fact, I don't remember anything about it. When I woke up again, it was already in this body. I have to ask, now that you are occupying this body, where is the original soul of this Omega-2? It doesn't exist. I'm so sorry, Doctor. I lied to you. There were indeed 2 of my copies, but there is only one Omega-2, which is the Geoffrey in Joaquin's body. Then this body never woke up since it was made. Though its vital signs have been normal, the lack of a soul still makes it defective. Anyway, I'm glad to see you're still alive, Mr. Joyce. I'm glad to meet you too, Dr. Conan Doyle. Welt then cast a glance at Bronya and Geoffrey and showed a trace of sadness. Mr. Joyce, you are my client. Now that the perpetrators have been identified, the rest is up to you to decide. I'd like to hear a suggestions, Doctor? I pondered for a moment and said, in a measured tone, there were a few cases that made me realize sometimes catching the culprits bring more pain than very crimes. And now I've learned to be more prudent. If I had to choose, I'd rather deceive the rules than my consciousness. Oh, my conscience. I think so too. Sometimes one tragedy might lead to another, and this chain reaction may go on forever, which will eventually push everything and everyone into a hopeless abyss. The two of them already bear too much pain. I'm glad to see we are in agreement on this matter. My dear Hua, it's time for our return trip. If the train station hasn't been blown up. One nodded. Her reticence on occasions like this has been quite comforting to me. Velt also expressed his gratitude to Irene. I failed to figure out the relationship between them after all. What? Sudden turn around. Alrighty then. What's left for us? Let's see this fragment. It was indeed a tragic scene. The merciless rain poured down, but remaining fires were still relentlessly burning all over the ruins. The building that was once called home had been wrecked and was almost unrecognizable. The bright full moon in the sky was witnessing everything clearly and soundlessly. A man was standing in the hall, gazing into the darkness. Life had escaped from the eyes of the petite little girl who was lying in the ruins like a discarded doll. The raging rain covered up all the noise, but the man believed she was there. Can it really save them? Can it? Oh. The man asked abruptly, in a hoarse but calm voice. In a moment, a melodious female voice answered him. Who knows? It brings different results to different wishes. But you have no other choice, don't you? She soundlessly appeared behind him like a light dream. Her tone was still bewitching, but with less mockery. You're right, I have no other choice. We walked to the little girl and gently picked her up. He walked to the little girl and gently picked her up, like carrying a plume of smoke. She already vanished when he stood up, but he walked to the scorched flower bed anyway, carrying the little girl. The fire had burned down every inch of the church, let alone the clump of delicate rosemary. Looked at the flower bed that was once full of green and mauve hues. Ashes and charred twigs were the only things left, with embers weakly warning at them. But he didn't hesitate. He gently put the little girl on the remains of the flowers. I will keep my promise, silly. Like a dreamy flashback, the clump of charred rosemary was instantly restored to its original beauty and delicacy. The green steams propped up the girl's body. The mauve petals softly stroked her skin. The embers ebbed away upon contact of the petals, like a canoe being pushed back to the tide by the tide. It's their memory, an eternal sanctuary. Nothing could hurt her anymore. The man thought so with relief. Howl! A terrible growl echoed through the rain. A giant twisted figure can be made out in the distance. I began to run towards it resolutely. Wait for me, Geoffrey. Die a human. Live on a human. The boy's memory was hazy and fragmented. He only remembered he had a dream after he woke up. A horrible dream in which he was no longer a boy, but a big, ugly beetle. Beetle! A beetle, not a monster. His mouth had the taste of blood, and his claws ripped open, what felt like human flesh. His eyes could only see red. He felt relieved waking up from the nightmare. For one instant, he thought he'd be trapped in the monster forever. But still his body felt different. He lifted his hand and checked. Even though covered in mud and dirt, these big hands obviously belonged to a grown man. What happened to me? He now found his voice wrong too. It was a deep and familiar voice that he seemed to have heard every day. He panicked and got up to his feet, amidst the fire and wreckages. What on earth happened to him? He stood still in this living hell and laboriously searched his memory. At last he thought of something important and began to sprint towards what was left of the church. All this was quietly taken by the eyes of the sorceress. She was gently nipping a delicate flower with soft blue glow. The glow kept flickering in the rain, as if signing the photograph of the rosemary. So, Irene was that? That woman that suggested everything? So, she knew from the beginning. She was just, oh my god, okay, oh hello, oh my god. Damn. Joyce announced that the members of Lab 42 had succeeded from Jigsaw and allied with the North America branch of Jigsaw to form the new anti-Honkai organization named Anti-Entropy. Alright. I didn't expect Val Joyce would have made such a huge move after that incident, but you seem to be indifferent to this shocking news. I'm used to going where the wind blows. I prefer dealing with little cases rather than huge organizations and systems. A rival organization Jigsaw sounds like the right place for Bronya and Joffrey. I heard you just returned from a long journey. Did who tell you this? Yes, I went to the East region to take care of Raven's instrument to me. Oh, those orphans she adopted have been taken by Anti-Entropy. I believe Mr. Joyce will take good care of them. Anyway, though this case was solved, I still don't have a clue how the possession via fluorescent and soul exchanges happened. I didn't know you'd be so obsessed with the paranormal. Before the phantom vanished, I thought I saw Mirage for a moment. I saw Joaquin and Zille leaving in the white light. He looked back and waved his hand, as if he was thanking someone. 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 Sounds more like he was just waving goodbye. No, my intuition told me he was expressing gratitude to someone. And for a moment, you seemed to be giving them a wave, though you weren't facing them. Oh, I did? Are you sure? Of course. This serial murder happened in some fountain might be the most uncanny case that I could ever experience in my life. The uncanny part is... Why is she so beautiful? The Grey Serpent we saw wasn't really Grey Serpent. The Phantom wasn't a phantom. Joaquin wasn't Joaquin. And even Joffrey wasn't really himself. Then is it possible that Irene Adler wasn't really Irene Adler, and Conan Doyle wasn't the real Conan Doyle? Who are you? Who I am is not important. The real question is, who are you? Me? I am... You have the answers, but something seems to be clenching your throat and preventing you from voicing them out. The people and the incidents in your mind are real memories, but it felt as if you were browsing through an old album. Inside an isolated chamber, in the next moment, you fell into endless darkness. Is he awake? No, he probably needs more time. I've already helped him find himself. It's only a matter of time for him to wake up, but too many times of consciousness mapping have added too many foreign perceptions and cognitions into his mind. If this continues sooner or later, I know that, and he knows that too, but that's his choice. As for you, I find it suspicious that you actually managed to infiltrate Hyperion and seem to know everything about this guy. You are not like me or anyone else in this ship. You can feel it. To be more precise, you are more like him. Who are you? If I recall correctly, Miss Comney, we made a deal a long time ago. I take him back, and you let me have my own little secret. Pretty woman. I've told you that my name is Rita Rosewise. Though I may not be the same Rita you used to know, I wouldn't refuse if you ever feel like snuggling up to me. You! I'll turn a blind eye to you for now, as I thank you for saving him. Sounds fair? But if I ever find out about whatever you might be scheming to do on Hyperion, you can punish me however you like. I will. This burden is yours now. If he wakes up, tell him to meet me on the bridge when he feels better. I have a lot to say to him. Aw, I feel sorry for him. Captain. Did you hear that? She seemed to be bent out of shape. Please, let me escape from reality for a while. You didn't seem to be surprised seeing me here. I was about to put this as my thumbnail. I don't know why. I know you and me are the same. I can feel that thing inside you. Consciousness mapping is a complicated ability. You may want to stop using it. It synchronizes your consciousness memories with the objects, which generates an unbearably massive info load. And the increasing amount of cognition residues left in your mind will impair your self-awareness. Is that so? I think I was that novelist this time. If you didn't help me remember myself, I wouldn't be here. So Rita, does that mean you... Oh, nothing. Just had a nostalgic dream when my mind was still hazy. I feel better now. I'm gonna go meet her in the bridge. Oh, this is her little lamp. So many nice panels. I wonder why Mihoy never did anything else with her apart from this, because they seem to love her so much. What a reunion. So he did not recognize me at all. Lasky Captain. He's always perspicacious and perceptive about anything except for his own business. But if I put on this dress for him, do you think he would recognize me, Loki? Whoa. What is this dress? Interesting. Let us take a picture. Okay. So that's it. It's all that we got. I still have to do this, but I'm not going to do this now. Yeah, it was a good story. A very not expected ending. I suspected the guy, the Joaquin, was has something to do with that, but not Bronya, and especially how you unfolded, right? It was very, 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 very interesting. Okay, so I'm about to end, but first I'm gonna just clear. Not gonna try any let's say funny business. And our Q-Manifold, as I had promised, I'm gonna just try to clear and not even activate this. Just wanna clear, not have a better timing. I'm gonna do that later. So yeah, I'm gonna use those 3 because I like the way they, how can I say, synchronize, maybe? No, it's better to use fire comp, but see, the clear times are very good, so I don't see why. It would be mandatory for me to use fire comp. I think I can clear it pretty okay with this comp. See, 19 seconds again. And the SP goes crazy. I'm gonna use Fuxi now, just because this wave kinda a little bit more difficult. Wait, my Brony's here, not there. Okay. 3rd floor. Oh, that was stupid of me. Okay. No. Bad Beetle. Not Beetle. Now I'm gonna ult. All out. I want to hit the other one, but okay. Oh, that's... Oh! Oh, that's not good. It was kind of out of reach. Okay. Just because he's mecha. To take a little bit longer to kill him. Okay, let's go all in again. I think we're gonna clear this a little bit easier. There you go. Let's bring the cat lady. Okay, now I'm gonna park the pole. Hey, dude. What are you doing? Bring the cat lady. Okay. Maybe now I should change characters. Choo. Because the mechas are really annoying. There you go. 1 minute. Not good. Okay, let me change. What should I use? It's okay. Can I use fire? Yeah, let's use this. I think it's gonna be a problem. Problema. Wait, but there's something very wrong here. This is not my build. Oh, because that's gonna give me a freaking headache. But okay. And these two is gonna give me a headache. Because I was using them in the abyss. I had to change the equipment. Okay. Wait, what? How this God? One's not one thing, it's another. What? Clack. Oh, I love that snap. Okay. Let's see if I can finally clean one rotation. I can't. Happens I can't. Oh. Froze. Okay. Okay. This is 4 or 9. Okay, it's the last one. Farm just a little bit. Oh shit. He's almost without HP. HQ. Okay. Please die. Okay, thank you. Can I use this composition? I think I can. Right? Okay, what happened here? It just fell. What? Okay, so the aiming here is something. Ow! Nope. 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 Not back to the. Okay, there you go. So the aiming here. Something 1800, okay? No, this is not okay. Let's bring Fuho first, and then the others. 1, 2, 3. I don't think one rotation would be enough. Yeah. Didn't even give. Oh my god, what the fuck was that? Okay. That was not good. What can I do to. You know what? You know what I could do? I could just go crazy on this. Crazy, I say. Way better. Why do I need something with fire when I have Asuka? People say she's bad. Depends if they use. Okay, that was pretty good. I'm comfortably in first, despite not wanting to be there at the beginning. Aiming. Yes, so I think I'll end up here for today. Finish all the event. The only thing that I have to do is this, but I'm not going to do it now. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. If you're watching this as a VOD on YouTube, leave a like. Why not? And yes, I'll be back probably on Sunday, maybe tomorrow. Probably on Sunday. Yes. So yeah. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.